Mercenary King here with a Gear Chronicle deck profile. Ta-da! Basically what we're going to do is we're just going to cover my modern iteration of the Chronojet deck, and then I'll do a Chrono Fang deck that isn't really complete, and we'll just go from there. Honestly, this deck is pretty fun. I do like it for its multiple attacks, as well as shenanigans that it can pull off. I think I've got a really good balance with it, though, and I hope to show you how it goes. So first off, our starter is Chronodran. He is Forerunner, G-Break 1, put this card into the Soul when this unit is placed on Mind Zone from R. For any reason, by the way. If they do it through certain Arakami's guards, do send them straight to the Mind Zone. So what you do is you can use it then. But basically, if you search your deck for one grade 3 or greater with Chronojet and a card name, call it to rearguard circle, shuffle deck, and at the end of turn, return that unit called by the effect into the hand. So he turns himself into a Chronojet for you, which you then use for stride fodder. Yeah, that's basically it. Or you could run Baylith. Actually, there are reasons to run this over Baylith. It's pretty crazy. Anyway, so TikTok Worker. I run 2 extra grade 3 zeros in this deck and the other deck, simply because TikTok Worker is a boss. He's really, there's no excuse not to play him. Put this unit into the Soul. At the end of the battle, your other rearguard attacked. You may pay the cost if you do time leap that unit. So basically, you attack with, say, Mellum. Mellum gets plus 4k when she attacks, and then turns into a grade 0. So you attack, boosted for 16k, time leap her, and turn her into a grade 0. It's pretty crazy. These effects stack like all else. And honestly, you can do that. You can also like attack with like this, boost with time TikTok Worker, so that she is a 12k attack, and then when you bind her, you send a unit to the bottom of the deck. It's pretty great, their unit. So I run 12 crit because I don't need stands. Honestly, this deck is way too shenanigansy for stands, because 1, stands aren't reliable, and 2, stands work with Chrono Fang, not Chronojet. Oh, that I wish I had Chrono Fangs. However, they're probably going to be reprinted in a trial deck. 4 heals, Uluru is best heal. No questions. No questions. No questions. I run 2 Lazina Bell. When Steam Maiden, she is a promo, pretty expensive actually. When this unit is put into your bind zone from rearguard circle, choose an opponent's grade 1 or less rearguard. They put it on the bottom of the deck. Basically, this is a great back row sniper, and she turns into grade 2s. I run a signed Steam Breath Dragon to get out the Chrono Jets, as well as to stride a little better. Stride's very important in this deck too. 1. 2, covers Cornerstone Gear Turtle. He has resist. When your drive check reveals a grade 3 card, you may time leap this unit. Basically, I run him to turn my grade 3s into a check, which then turn into grade 2s, which is just the best thing ever. Now, you do have to be careful. Any triggers that you put on him will be lost. He's a 7k booster, which is real nice. Honestly, I kind of wish I could run these guys a little better, but I just can't seem to get a grade 3 check deck right with Gear Chronicle, even though they have plenty of cards that work with it. I don't know why, but whatever. I run 3 Mellum. I don't really find 4 very useful, because these cards are just so useful as techs that I kind of need the space for her, as well as for 1 TikTok Worker. That's why I run 12 grade 1s. When this unit attacks a Vanguard, you may pay the cost. You may have the unit get plus 4k. G-Break 1. At the end of the turn, return this unit to the deck. End of the battle, return this unit to the deck. Search your deck for 1 grade 0. Call it to rearguard circle, tap, shuffle your deck. Really great card. It's like $10, $11, and with good reason. It's worth having in every Gear Chronicle deck. I only have 3, but honestly, I don't really want it in my other decks. I just like her in this one. She's a pretty good, and a trooper as a card. Steam Maiden Sanalar, Perfect Shield. Steam Knight Caliban. This is like one of the few cards in Gear Chronicle that works early game. When this unit is placed on rearguard, choose an opponent's rearguard, and the opponent returns it to the deck. Search your deck for a grade less than the rearguard that they was put in the bottom. Call to Rearguard shuffles is their deck. So basically what you do is you play it and you snipe their starter. Because there isn't a -1 card in all of Vanguard, the starter is gone. That's what you do. That's how you play it. I run 3 because I use one of the slots for a TikTok worker. 4, Steam Knight Mudar. Bind Zone, it's an act. Soul Blast 1, call this unit to Rearguard Circle, and it gets plus 2k. So it's an 11k attacker. My deck does kind of strand people in time and space, outside time and space on occasion, and guys like Mudar are pretty great. He also has the ability Time Leap, Rearguard Circle, bind this unit face up. When this unit attack hits a Vanguard, you may pay the cost. If you do, Soul Charge 1, choose another Rearguard, and Time Leap it. So basically you can get multiple attacks. And he works with Upstream Dragon, which I run 4 of. When this unit attacks a Vanguard, you have it get plus 4k. So if you get like a grade 1, like this guy, you go straight to him, because he can attack a Vanguard on his own as long as the Vanguard doesn't have any triggers. It gets plus 4k. And at the end of that battle, return this unit to deck, search your deck for 1 grade 1, call it to Rearguard tapped, shuffle unit. Shuffle your deck. Basically, the reason why it comes out tapped was because Mellum and this guy are kind of a thing. If I could go from Upstream to Mellum to TikTok Worker back up to Upstream somehow, which is possible, it would be a good time for you, but a bad time for everyone else, and this card would be broken. Alright, there's no other way to explain it. I don't like saying cards are broken, but like the Big Belly Stride, it would be broken without that one restriction. But what it can do is it can set up for next turn, and I do use it to pull out cards I will Time Leap next turn with, say, Time Warp Dragon or Clockwork Phoenix or something like that. Just because, you know, it's good to be prepared. Like, I turn Mellums into TikTok Workers. Here's how it goes. I turn this guy into Mellum, and then Mellum into TikTok Worker, and then TikTok Worker gets me another attack. That's how it goes. Really great card, worth running 4 of in every Gear Chronicle deck. I only have 4, sadly. Steam Fighter Bela. When this unit attacks, it's a Vanguard, Counterblast 1, Rearguard Circle. Choose one of your opponent's Rearguards in the front row, and put it in the bottom of the deck. That's fairly generic. You'll never use them for that ability. During your turn, when your G unit strides, choose one of your Vanguards. It gets an act. So after it strides, stride phase rather, during main phase, search Counterblast 1, search your deck for 1 Chronojet Dragon, place it on Vanguard as a heart shuffle deck. If you place the card, choose a heart card named Steam Fighter Bela from the Vanguard and put him in the bottom of the deck. Basically, you switch him out for a Chronojet. That's it. He's here to make sure Chronojet gets off all the time. And I realize I'm sort of clipping my own cards here, so I'm going to try and make sure it's in the right section. Finally, I run 4 Chronojet Dragon. Yes, 1 is signed. Yeah. When this unit attacks a Vanguard, G-Break 2, it was the first of the Stride cards. Until in a battle, it gets plus 5k and they can't Perfect Shield it. That's whatever. Honestly, the only reason that ability is even, like, thought of is because next stage is a thing. But honestly, the reason why this, you know, for this deck, Stride every turn. If you can do it, Stride every turn. The Strides are just too good not to use. Anyway, Chronojet Dragon, Counterblast 1 during your turn. When your G unit strides, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose one of your opponent's Rearguards. Your opponent puts that in the bottom of the deck. Pretty great card. Yeah, it just -1s your opponent for a Counterblast. Really, just a fine ability. You know, it's one of those things where it's like, it's so useful. There's not much to say about it other than this is what it does. Use it all the time. Unless you are out of Counterblast, or you need the Counterblast for something else. Now, for specific to this deck, I run 2 Metallica Phoenixes. Choose a face-down card from your G-Zone, turn it face up. When this unit attacks a Vanguard, if you have a heart card with Chronojet, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose one of your Rearguards and Time Leap it. So basically, you take this card, Time Leap it for a grade 1 in a Chronojet, and then you go from there. Really great card, works all the time. You can't fail with this Stride. Like, it's one of those things where, like, certain Strides you just can't fail with, even though they aren't the flashiest thing in the world, and he's just one of them. I also run 2 Ragnarok Dragons, Counterblast 1, flip over a Ragnarok. When this unit attacks a Vanguard, you may pay the cost. If you do, your opponent cannot call gray zeros. Then if the face-up cards in your G-Zone is 2 or more, it gets a critical. So basically, you know, if they're at 5 damage, and this is your first stride, honestly, this isn't a bad choice just to mess with them, because many times people don't have a perfect shield first stride. But the critical is always nice to have, and that's really the only reason why I keep them around. Fiery March Colossus, Counterblast 1, choose a rear guard and put it at the bottom of the deck. By the way, it can be like a crit trigger or something, so you know, if you have any ideas about that. When this unit attacks a Vanguard, you may pay the cost. If you do choose one of your opponent's rear guards, opponent unit put it at the bottom of the deck. Until end of battle, your opponent cannot call the same grade as the card you put at the bottom of their deck. He's really great. Basically, I use him when I know they have, when they don't have, even if they have like heal triggers for G guarding. I do this when I know that they have perfect shields, and they mostly have perfect shields. Like, I do it like as a tech, as a potential. Because a lot of people don't always have perfect shields, or they get too many perfect shields and not a lot of grade zeros. Remember, a card that's a perfect shield cannot also be a grade 0, if you know what I mean. If they drove check a perfect shield, they didn't drive check a grade 0. So you could run this guy and just ruin somebody's day. Then we have Interdimensional Dragon Chronos Command Dragon. The original GR had the same rarity as a triple rare. Good job, Bushy Road. And the ability is a little lackluster too. Counterblast 2, Soul Blast 1. I use him mostly for the cost for Metallica Phoenix. Choose a card from your hand, discard it. When this unit attack hits a Vanguard, pay the cost. If you do, the opponent puts all of his or her rearguards at the bottom of the deck. So in other words, once he hits, you wipe the field. And not a lot of people can repair from that, even if the cost is pretty high for it. However, we have another card. Again, I use them for the cost of things that flip over things. Another card, Interdimensional Dragon Chronos Command. Revolution. Counterblast 1. Choose a face-down card of the same name, turn it face up. I run 2, as you can see. I kind of wish I had 2 more. When this is placed on Vanguard, you may pay the cost. If you do, your opponent puts all of his or her rearguards on the bottom of the deck in any order. If you have a face-up card named Chronos Command, boop, in the G-Zone already, then choose 2 of your rear guards and all rear guards. Choose up to 2 of your rear guards, and all rear guards but 2 are put in the bottom of the deck in any order. And if you do not have a Chronos Command in the G zone already, you return all your rear guards to the bottom of the deck. It's pretty crazy. And you do have to be careful, because this deck doesn't really put out a field all the time. Like, I do have a bit of a problem with Diablo, just because my field melts away at the end of turn. I time leap it, and then I untime leap it. There's not much I can really say about it other than that's what happens, and I have to compensate for it. And I do. He's really a good card, and just the fact that he wipes the field for a counterblast and a flip, despite the G-Break 2, is just fantastic. And I have used him when I've had no rear guards, just to wipe the field. And then I put cards down. Like, it's all in the order that and how you do it. Fortunately, you know, he's just good. Finally, I run 4 Time Warp Dragons. He is Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1, Act once per turn, Vanguard Circle, Time Leap. I know, right? Eventually, this entire thing will be just symbols. Choose a face-down card from your G-Zone, turn it face-up. Choose the same number of rearguards as the number of face-up Warp Drive Dragons in your G-Zone. Time Leap them. Choose an opponent's rearguard, grade less than or equal to the number of cards Time Leaped. Your opponent puts that card to the bottom of the deck. So bit grade equal. So in other words, you spin one of their units to the bottom of their deck. Just getting that out there. It can be a 0, a 1, a 2, or a 3 eventually. It'll get up to a 3. But basically what you do is you can make this a first stride and flip over one of him. So for the second stride, flip over Chronos Command. For the third stride, flip over, you know, something else you're not using. And you just keep time leaping. Really, it's a great card, and there's no flaws about it. Again, this is one of those cards that works so well that all you can say, it works really great. You need to play this. You see this, like, if you have been paying attention, you know, you see that my deck has all kinds of time leap combos running around. and I can do a lot of things. This is a toolbox, a jewel chest, where I can pick up anything I want for nearly any situation. If I need to snipe back row rear guards, I time leap in such a way that I do this. If I want multiple attacks, I time leap in such a way that I have like him out or like him out, and then I have like a TikTok worker running around. Everything can be gotten somehow. I just have to be careful in how I go about it. And this guy, he works. He does work. He will do work. Past, present, future. Has worked, working, will worked, was working. I don't know. G-guards. I run a pretty simple build. Because I don't have any rear guards that I need to protect, and I rarely, if ever, have a front row, I don't run Dismal. The only place you should really run Dismal is in super protective rear guard attacks, rear guard builds, and honestly, I realize now I should have been running one Dismal in my Vanguard build to prevent Laurel from dying. But that's whatever. Again, I basically created a new Vanguard deck with Vanguardy, and I'm sort of mismanagement, but also it's sort of teaching me how to handle metal borgs as well. It's like one of those things like you when you're teaching or learning Vanguard and stuff like that, you don't want to go straight on all the time. Sometimes you want to like hit it from the side, and then you'll learn things about it. It's pretty great. Retroactive time made in the Luru. The G guards on Gear Chronicle is just fantastic. When this unit is placed on G zone, choose one normal unit and a trickle unit from the drop zone. Put them on the bottom of the deck in any order. If 2 cards were put, this gets a plus 5k. So here's the funny thing. You can do it like this. Crit trigger, TikTok worker. And I have had great success using it that way, because TikTok worker is a normal unit. So you stick a normal unit, then you use Mellum, and the next turn get back TikTok worker, because you Soul Blasted it for Time Warp Dragon. It's just one of those things that has a lot of focus on it. This deck works together like clockwork. Anyway. Highbrow Steam Rafana. I run 2 of her. When this is placed on Guardian Circle, choose one grade 1 or greater rearguard. You may return it to the deck. If you do, search for a grade 0, call it a rearguard. TikTok worker, cough, that you put in the last attack with the Luru, cough, cough. And there are reasons to do this, especially when your opponent hits like some insane number like 35k. Search your deck. If you call the card, it gets plus 10k. Basically, you only want to use her if you're ready to do it, but because I find the TikTok worker combo so useful, I do like using her. Again, you can put like heals back with her too. The only thing is it is limited to the 4 G-Guard rule. I don't run more because I do just run through them, and I never have a need for a Screw You or a Dismal. I kind of wish I had in a Gleam, but that's whatever. And the art on this, by the way, is just fantastic on both of them. Really great art on Gear Chronicle in general. Like, this is like the worst art, funnily enough. So, yeah. Well, it's been Wheeler the Mercenary King. Have a great evening. Bye.